fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Hello, Salt Strong Nation. Joe Simons, like diamonds. Welcome to the year 2020. This is going to be a fun one. This is Unchurched. We are back. Took a week off. I realized that I needed some time off. We ended up going to Chattanooga, of all places. We were looking for an affordable place to go with the family, all three of my kids and my lovely wife. And we wanted a place where we could drive, so we didn't have to buy flights, and somewhere that was a little bit different we hadn't been before. And we decided Chattanooga. We knew on the way there we could stop by Atlanta, see some old friends where we used to live. And also at Stone Mountain, they have snow. So our youngest son, Jackson, who was born here in Florida, has actually never seen snow. Other two daughters have, and so we did that for the day in between, traveling to Chattanooga. And doggone, what a cool place. Chattanoogans. Very friendly people. A lot to do there. A lot for the kids. Rock City. Finally saw Rock City. Saw the falls. A lot to do on that Lookout Mountain. Pretty cool place. A lot of great restaurants. We found an Airbnb right on the water, right there on the Tennessee River, which was just unbelievable place for kids. The kids could roam around. It was so much better than a hotel. And we were right there where one little short flight of stairs, and boom, we're there on the water, and they had a big playground right there on the river and ducks. Anyhow, just had a blast. Great way to kind of just take a break and not be attached to my computer. That was my promise to my wife, and that also meant, for a week, no podcast. So for those of you loyal listeners, thank you so much, and that is the reason that we took a break, that there was no uploads for really this past week, but we are back at it. I'm pumped. I got a ton of energy. We just had a really amazing meeting with the whole team yesterday in St. Pete to talk about some of the stuff I want to share today, and a lot of it just has to do with simplifying your goals. Many of us make a massive mistake. There's two mistakes in a beginning of a year in January. It's like coming up with this just crazy resolution that's you and I both know is never going to happen. It's like pie in the sky dream. And it's just usually too much. Like, I'm going to do all these 15 things. Like, that's a massive mistake. Like, you got to simplify it. And the other side of that is just not having any goals at all. I think, there's a reason that that New Year's, it is a new year, that people do resolutions. It's kind of like a clean slate. Regardless of what industry you're in or where you are in life, it's a great way to look at it as a clean slate. I'm going to read something real quick. I just posted this recently on social media, and it was eye-opening for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people. And here is what it says. Retirement age is 67 years old. So retirement age is 67. Life expectancy is 78 in America right now. Work for 50 years to maybe enjoy 11. Start enjoying life now and go fishing more often. No one is guaranteed tomorrow. Pretty hard hitting. And, so many of us, we always just kind of think and assume, and sometimes we're right, but many times we're wrong, that it's not going to be us. Meaning, hey, we're going to live to 100 years old. It's not going to be us. Yet, the stats prove it, that the average person in America lives to 78. And once you get in your 80s, things slow down. Your body doesn't work the way that it did in your 40s and 50s and 60s. Regardless of how well you treat it and how well you've trained for it, things start breaking when you get in your 80s. And the average person, in America, it is 78. And so think about that. And many of us now are working way past 67. So, but even if you did retire at 67, which is the quote unquote retirement age in America, think about this. You're working for 50 years. Dedicating your life to something, hopefully, that you enjoy and love. I'm not saying you shouldn't work hard. You should work your tail off so that you can enjoy your time. But if you really think about it, so many of us are in jobs that we absolutely hate. We're doing it just for the paycheck. We don't like the people we're working with. And I know because I've been in that situation before, and you're not really fulfilled with what you're doing. You wish you could be doing something else, and all of a sudden 50 years go by, and we're looking at, gosh, 11 years left to hopefully enjoy it all. And that's assuming that you saved. That's another thing. Back in my old job in retirement planning and retirement services, I got to see people's financial statements. I got to see how poorly that the average American had saved. And I'm talking about people who were making six figures. I'm not talking about the guy or gal making $7 an hour flipping burgers at McDonald's. I'm talking about, executives, like people who were making sometimes $250,000, $300,000 a year, and they hardly had anything saved up. They were trying to keep up with the Joneses, living way above their means, not saving at all. Wrongly assuming that one day I'll save. I won't be like everyone else who ends up having to work forever, and I won't be that person. And I think one of the biggest fallacies that I would see in my shoes, being able to look at these plans and try to, or look at their income and their assets and try to create a plan for them, was so many of them, especially these executives, they might have $1.5 million, $2 million, even $3 million in their 401k. And that's a lot of money. I'm not trying to poo-poo on that at all, but they never really thought about the tax implications. I mean, that money, if you have money in a 401k or an IRA, and minus if it was a Roth, but if it's a normal 401k from your company, whether they're matching or not, or if it's an IRA, that money has not been taxed yet. And when you take it out and you want to spend it on whatever you might be doing, you have to pay taxes. And so many people just completely forget that. They see the 3 million or a million or whatever it is, and 3 million you could probably be okay with, assuming you do cut back on your expenses and don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Is if you're still burning through $200,000 a year trying to keep up with the Joneses and you have zero income and you're paying taxes and all that, do the math. I mean, even at the lowest tax bracket, you're talking in the 20-something percent. The higher end, you're getting closer to 40%. So that means that $1 million, just take $400K right off the top. Boom, done. And you might be paying fees on it every year. A lot of people don't know that. You all of a sudden, your million is really like 500,000, and you can burn through that so quickly. So sorry to get on a tangent there, but I think that's incredibly important. Because I saw it so many times from people who society would think is doing really well. They lived in the big 5-bedroom house on the golf course. They had nice cars, and maybe didn't even have too much debt, but they just weren't saving. They were literally blowing every penny. And this is something that I struggle with as well. It's easy to go down that path, just all of a sudden see that cash in there, and it's like burning a hole in your pocket, and you got to spend it. And so this is something that, my wife and I are constantly talking about. So I bring all that up just to kind of give you a mindset about how important it is to create some goals and to take action. And we were in a C12 meeting. That's that Christian mastermind group that I'm a part of. And if you are a Christian leader in terms of a CEO or president of an executive company, you should definitely check it out. It's all over the country, been around for 20 plus years. Really, really great, just a great community. And we meet once a month face to face. And this last meeting, we talked about, our goals. And one of the gentlemen in there had mentioned a word. He's like, yeah, my wife and I have had a word of the year. And society's had a word of the year, and some of it's been corny, like that was the word of the decade, I think. So this is not something new, but he's like, so many people create these just elaborate New Year's resolutions with too many things, and it's 10 different things they want to accomplish. And he's like, we just focus on one word and take it the next step, write it down every single day. And he's like, it is crazy what God has done in our lives. Or if you don't believe in God and it's you call it the universe, whatever, just all the stuff that is manifest in their life because they were focused on that word. I've mentioned the book Think and Grow Rich many times, and just you have to call them miracles that have happened when someone is laser focused on some type of goal or word or whatever it might be. And I want to share with you my personal word that I've been praying on and just really thinking through a lot, and I finally settled on it. And then also I'm going to share with you our Salt Strong word. So we have one as a company that we all agreed upon, and we went back and forth, and finally everyone agreed on one word that we want to focus on. And I'm writing them down. I did it this morning. I'm writing them down every single day in a little journal just to stay focused on it. And it's crazy. And just the company goal was just yesterday, so I haven't really seen anything happen. But the personal one, I did make my mind up on that really New Year's Eve, and have been writing it down since. So we're talking, a week essentially, and I've already seen things happening and like shifting, like really spooky, crazy in a short amount of time. It is amazing what happens when you write down a goal. And I wish I had the numbers here in front of me, but I saw some stat recently, like if you write down a goal every day for a year, like write it down, not just think about it or not even just look at it on your desk. If you actually take the time to get a pen or pencil out and write it down with your hand, like handwriting, write it down, it was like 500 times more likely that you were going to accomplish that goal. It wasn't like 5%. I mean, it was like 500 times more likely. Guys, write down your goals. I mean, how obvious can it be? And I'm going to have to go get the stat and make sure I can back that up. But it was some outrageous number that if you wrote it down versus just thinking about it or writing it down once, I mean, it was night and day difference. So my personal word, and actually I'm going to go through some words that I wrote down. And one of these might hit you pretty hard, and maybe it's something you need to be working on. And this is it's the focus of the year. And I wrote down family. That was one that was at the top, and I'll share, my last one, what it is here in a second. Trust. And that means, just trust God, trust that everything's happening, for a reason. Faith, forgive. That's, something that I think a lot of us struggle with. We might pretend that we don't, but so many of us, need to forgive someone or something that's happened in our past. Present, not that I want to get a bunch of presents, but to be present. That's something I struggle with a lot. A lot of times I finish work at 6 and I go right downstairs. I usually work from home, and all of a sudden, the kids are there. It's dinner time. And like, I haven't really finished what I was working on here at Salt Strong, and I kind of want to go back to it. So I still have my phone in my pocket, and I'm kind of checking it. And man, shame on me. And my little daughter, my 8-year-old, is sharp enough to see it, and she's called me out a few times on it, like, Dad, put your phone up. And man, that's like a dagger that hits hard, right to the chest. And so that was a big one for me. I almost went with the word present. Action, just, taking action. Don't procrastinate. Don't sit there on Facebook and Instagram. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I spend time on that every day, and it's part of my business, but that doesn't mean that's an excuse for me to sit there and, plan it for 4 hours or even an hour. I mean, 30 minutes should be the max. So taking action, just, doing stuff that is a needle mover, not sitting there on the TV eating chocolate bonbons. Happiness, just to focus on happiness. Control, freedom, which those two kind of go together, and that could mean a lot of things depending on what's going on in your life. Joy, and then impact was one that I got really, really close to picking. And that's always still in the back of my mind. How much impact am I going to make? What if I don't? What if I'm the guy or gal that doesn't live to age 78? What if I only have 10 years left? What if you only had a year left? How would that change your mindset? How would that change your goals? How would that change your day-to-day interactions and actions with people? What kind of impact do you want to leave? I'll tell you right now, I'm working on a book called The Chair. Some of you guys saw it on that are friends with me on Facebook. It's called The Chair, and it's a fictional book. It's kind of like Harry Potter-ish. It's like a fantasy book. I'm not just saying this, but it is awesome. Like, I really believe this is going to make a massive impact. And here's why. I wrote it about my brother Daniel. And if you guys don't know him, he was born with cerebral palsy. He's never walked or talked a day in his life, and yet he wakes up happy. And yet he still has never done all the stuff that we get to do. And long story short, he finds this underground world, and like there's a whole nother like society living like in the center of the earth, and they don't like Americans because they feel like they've kind of been, it's kind of like the power of classes, right? That, everyone doesn't like the one percenters because they're not there, and the one percenters don't like the other people, and this other society basically feels like the people on earth have been given too much and it's not fair, and they want to take what's rightly theirs because they've been around longer, and ends up being like this whole war, and the president's involved. And Daniel, why he's down there, ends up finding, essentially the fountain of youth that's down in this world, and ends up getting healed. And long story short, he gets to walk and talk for the first time in his life, and and ends up having to save the world. And it's I won't ruin the story for you, but it is actually really, really awesome. And my editor in New York is saying the same thing. She's like, "Wow, like this is freaking amazing book." Spent a lot of time, spent really a couple years now writing it and rewriting it, and it'll be coming out soon. And to me, that's an impact. What it's going to do for who knows if it'll be, I know thousands will read it for sure, because I know thousands read my last book. I don't know if it'll be tens of thousands or millions, but the people that read that, they're going to have more respect and think a little bit differently about disabled people. And then maybe it's a 12-year-old who's used to teasing kids that are disabled or retarded. I think it's going to change a lot of people's mindset about these kids. They're all God's children, and that many of them are super, super strong inside and can do some amazing things, like my brother has, and like my brother Daniel, the character in the book does. And two, I think it's just going to, it's going to inspire a lot of people to, hey, you know what? Like I have no excuse, like I can do this. I could do big things. I can dream big. I don't have to sit here and do what my teacher said or what my parents said or whoever's trying to currently hold me down right now, that I can go do big things, that I can go make a big impact, that I could change the world, that, I don't have to have a college education, or I don't have to be born into this family, or I don't have to have money to do this thing that I've been dreaming about doing forever. And I really believe it's going to inspire a lot of people. And so that's kind of my big impact thing for this year that I'm really, really pumped about. So that was one word that I really, really was excited about. But here's what I went with. And I'm going to kind of give you a backstory why. So, in my prior life, did really well financially, saved well, basically burnt through all of it to start Salt Strong. And a lot of crazy things happen along the way with, obviously having kids is expensive. We've had multiple kids, hospitalized for multiple days, and all that stuff adds up. Even though we have insurance, you still got high deductibles. And it was just like thousands going out here, 3,000 here, 10,000 there. I got brought into another good life lesson that I can now talk about. I was sitting outside with my my son Jackson, and we were just playing. It was after work, and this car pulls up, and I didn't recognize the car, and not one that I'd seen in our small little neighborhood. And this guy gets out, and he's walking towards me, and he's kind of like a big, black, pretty ripped guy. And I'm like, all right, what's going on here? And I'm like, all right, why is this random, strange, massive black guy coming at me? And then I saw a little badge on his belt buckle. And I'm like, okay, so this guy's a cop or something. And then he's like, hey, I'm here to serve you. And my wife's not home at this point. And so I was kind of kidding around with him. I'm trying to like break the tension. I was like, what is my wife divorcing me or something? He kind of laughed, and he's like, no, this is a lawsuit from the state of Utah. And I'm like, the state of Utah? And I was like, what in the world? And obviously, I'm like tearing it up, going through it after the guy left, and he basically served me. And I'm like freaking out, like, what has happened? Who is suing me in the state of Utah that I've never even been to before? And here's what happened. So in my prior lives, this is something that happened like 8 years ago. And there was this gentleman that I did business with. So he was not my business partner. I was not in business with him. He was just a guy I did business with. Just like if you did business with any contractor or anyone out there that would pay you money for anything. So if you have a small business and someone paid you $5,000 or 10 or 100 for work, that was the relationship. So zero partnership, didn't do anything wrong, but it turns out that this guy had been running a Ponzi scheme in the state of Utah. And so all the money that he paid me and countless others was all basically stolen money from other people. So I didn't do anything wrong. The other, 30 people that were all sentenced the same way I was did nothing wrong. But what happens when someone is convicted, by the SEC, because this was in the financial services arena, that he had a financial services company. So once someone is convicted of that, they do what's called a clawback, and they can go, I think it's 15 years. And the same thing happened with that other massive Ponzi scheme. So even the people that did nothing wrong, that like made money with the Madoff deal. So let's just say you gave Madoff $1 million and you were one of the lucky people who got your money out way before he was exposed. They went and took your money, not the money you put in, but if you put in $1 million and you earn 1.5, they literally went and took your $500,000. Like they went after and sued those people because it was essentially stolen money from other people. It doesn't seem fair, especially if you played by the rules and you literally invested with the guy and going. Can you imagine if you put $1 million with Madoff and you were one of the lucky people who just maybe didn't feel right about him? You pulled your money out and your gains. So $1 million went to 1.5, and then 10 years later, he gets exposed, and you get a lawsuit from the SEC saying, "Hey, we're coming after your $500,000, whether you spend it or not." And that's where I found myself. I'm talking about a low, like I'm already like blowing all this money on Salt Strong, all this stuff going on with kids. It was like just a stressful time. And all of a sudden now I'm sued for tens of thousands of dollars, that they're coming after that. Man, I had already spent, I did nothing wrong. Like I did my job and they even said that. And so we finally settled and I had to go hire a lawyer in the state of Utah. It was the biggest waste of time in my entire life. And even the lawyer, he's like, man, you have to settle with them somehow. Like you can't fight the SEC when all they can keep going back to is saying this is stolen money that he paid you with. It doesn't matter what happened, no matter how honest you are, or no matter how long it's been since this happened. Because remember, I'm already out of the business. Like that old business is sold. It was, there was no money left there. Like that, it was all gone. And so now I had to come up and ended up being $20-something thousand that I had to cut a check for. And like that just stung. And I was just like, my goodness, what is happening? So I just feel like it's been really 4 years of just getting beat down and like watching my entire savings account go out the door, not from being wasteful and like just doing lavish trips and stuff. We've been cutting back, my car's got 100,000 miles, has been paid off forever. We're not doing anything crazy. It's just all these small things. And, we're not where we are financially with Saltering, even though it is profitable, in 2019. Just not where we are. So my word, all that being said, is abundance. So that is the word I've been writing down. And once again, just this past week, I'm already seeing, I don't know how to explain it. I feel things shifting. I'm seeing just really neat little openings and bright spots that are already happening within our business, within, personally, and some of the stuff that we're doing giving wise. It just feels really, really good right now. So my word for the year is abundance. And maybe that's you. Maybe you've been, just kind of feel like you've been kicked down for a few years financially and just things keep popping up. Maybe that's your word for the year is abundance. And so I'm writing that down every day. I'm thinking about it multiple times a day, just abundance that I want, to be flooded with God's favor and just abundance. And that doesn't just mean money. I'm talking about abundance of love and friendships, and making new friends throughout the business and new family members in our insider family. And so it's just abundance in all aspects of life. And so that's my personal word. On the Salt Strong side of things, we went back and forth with a lot of different words. And if you don't know our business model at Salt Strong, really the foundation is our insider club. That's where our insiders now, they get to see where we fish every week. They get massive discounts. So even if you don't fish a lot, I know we've had quite a few people have saved $400 or $500 in a year just on our discounts, combined with the fact that we're not sponsored and we go out and actually test products and say, guys, like, you do not need to buy this instead, and you're going to save $82, and then you'll save another 15 or 20 if you use the discounts that we have in place with pretty much every big manufacturer out there. Every big name that you've seen, we've got discounts with now for our members. And of course, they get access to all of our exclusive tips, the stuff that we don't put on YouTube. We have all kinds of mini courses. Basically, if you're an inshore angler, that means someone who fishes for the redfish and speckled trout and flounder and tarpon and snook and black drum and sheepshead, Spanish mackerel, all those inshore species that really you can be found from Texas, all through the Gulf to Florida, all the way up to really that Virginia, and even getting into New Jersey. Like that those are our people. That's who we're going after, and those are the people that we're impacting. And so that's really the foundation of it. And they're paying, a membership fee. And so they are a family. I mean, once we get someone, we want them to be there for life. And we've had now multiple members who have been there since the get-go. It's been going on essentially 4 years, because we didn't start it until late in our very first year, and we just hit our 5-year anniversary. So we've got, some members here that just renewed for their 4th year, which is awesome. And what's funny is almost all of those original people are renewing, and it's because we've treated them well. And so our word is engage. And what I mean by engage is just to love our members, to treat them like family, to engage with them, to talk to them, give them more access to us. We're going to be coming out with some really cool things. If you're an insider member, get ready. One thing that we've heard from a lot of you is, hey, I want to go fishing with you guys, with Joe, Luke, and Tony. So we are going to have a lot of opportunities to do that only for our insider members. And that's just another way, once again, we can engage. There's nothing better. Obviously, it's not scalable. We can't do it with we're now over 11,000 members as I'm recording this, so we can't do it with everyone. But we're going to try to make it as fair as possible for people who are engaging with us. Then they're going to get the chance to engage even further and go fishing. There's just nothing like being on a boat or a kayak with someone for a few hours and going out afterwards and having coffee or beer, whatever you're into, and really getting to meet them and spend some time with them. So I'm really pumped about that. So our big word is engage, and we're going to be investing heavily into that, into just more customer service and just making people feel loved, because people don't leave a community like ours unless they're not feeling loved, right? I mean, we know the values there. I mean, it's been proven over and over again that if you go through this, even just 10 minutes a week, so every week on Friday, we have our 10-minute, breakdown. It's called the Smart Fishing Breakdown, and we get on an online map and literally show you where to go fishing. Like, hey, and we pick out spots in every state in 10 minutes or less. Like, we made it super quick. And you can rewind it, watch it as many times as you want, and literally say, hey, guys, here's what's happening based on the wind, the tides, and the weather, and here's where the fish are holding. They're going to be in 3 feet of water. They're going to be down deeper. They're going to be underneath docks or creeks, like literally getting on a map and showing you where to fish. So we know the values there, but we also know not everyone gets to fish as much as they want. And for the weeks or even months they're not fishing, that's where we got to love on them. That's where we got to engage with them, get them more active in the community, ask them how we can help. And so our word is engage. I'm super pumped. The whole team was really, really pumped about that. And so I share all these two things with you so that you now, if you haven't already, can pick your word. Simplify your goals. It can be done in one word. And I would say don't do 2 words. Now, maybe if it was like, I don't know, something with weight loss, I don't know if that's 2 words or one, but maybe like there's something like that. But try to get it down to 1 word, not a phrase. Just 1 word that you can focus on every day, something simple that you can. Here's what I do. Sometimes I'll write it down 15 times, literally 15 times in a row. I mean, that's something about that, writing it down. It's just like getting into your subconscious, getting your brain, and it's just amazing how this stuff starts manifesting itself into your life. So write it down every day, even if it's just once a day, that's fine. But writing it down is a massive thing. Simplify it. Narrow it down to 1 word, and let me know what your word is, and I'll be thinking about you and praying over you. If you want to email me, if you've made it this far, my email is Joe, Joe, @saltstrong.com. That's Joe @saltstrong.com. I love hearing from you guys. I do read every single email. Some of you know it takes me a little while to get back with some of you, but I love getting the emails. So please, please, please let me know if this is making an impact in your life. If there's anything else you have questions of, I got so many questions on all the anxiety stuff, and maybe that's the word. If you're dealing with anxiety, maybe the word is peace. Maybe it's just calm, right? Just the word CALM. I mean, just saying that word calm over and over again, that this is going to be the year for calmness or peace, or whatever, tranquility, whatever word it is for you. If you just need to kind of calm down, or maybe it's just breathe, just a reminder to breathe slowly, to take breaths, to maybe take a time out every once in a while and meditate, whatever it might be. So once again, I love to hear from you. Welcome to the year 2020. Pick out your word, simplify your goals. Remember, retirement age 67, life expectancy 78. That means you're working for 50 years to only enjoy 11 potentially. And I said go fishing more, but I think more importantly is find something that you love. Find something that you're passionate about. Find something where you're truly making an impact. I don't think God put any of you on this earth to sit there and do something for 50 years or even 5 years that you're just miserable doing, you don't feel like you're called to do. I don't think he ever put any of you here to do something just to get a paycheck. And if you've ever had that conversation behind closed doors with spouse, best friend, or whatever, oh yeah, I'm just doing it because of the paycheck, then get out of it. Find something new. It's amazing how you will be protected and you will be taken care of, and you're not going to end up homeless if you pursue something you feel like you're called to do. I've never met a single person who has taken that leap of faith. Never even heard about a single person who's taken the leap of faith to do what they're truly called to do, not chasing a dollar and chasing something that's just going to boost their ego. But if you truly follow what you know you're called to do, like your special gift, you will succeed and you will be taken care of, and you will not end up homeless and all the other fears that are going through your head when you think about it. So I challenge you to be bold, to pursue something you love. That doesn't mean you have to start your own business. I mean, the majority of people in America will not start their own business, and it's not fun for everyone. As small business owners know, it's incredibly stressful, and you end up a lot of times having less money than the people that work for you. But if you feel like you're called to do that, great. But if you feel like you're called to be a part of an organization like ours or any company, man, pursue it. Find something you love. Find something you can make an impact in. And gosh, write down that word every single day. So that's it. First episode of Unchurched 2020 in the books. We're going to have a lot of new things coming up. We'll have our boy Pastor Johnny Kelly back on. Going to have some other guests. I heard from a lot of you some really amazing feedback about things that you want to do. We're going to shorten them. This is actually a longer one. We're going to try to keep them 30 minutes or less. I think I went a little bit over here. Just me rambling on about the word. The bird is the word. But guys, thank you so much. And also, if this podcast is something that you like and you wanted to see it continue to thrive, please go give us a review and subscribe. Those two things help out tremendously getting this podcast found. It makes me feel good about it, like, hey, that people are actually listening and liking it, and it helps me get guests. The first thing that a lot of the bigger guests do is they look to see how many subscribers you have and how many reviews you have. So especially if you're on iTunes, which seems to be the main place, please just stop what you're doing right now, hit the subscribe button, and then leave a quick, hopefully 5-star review. That would mean the world to me. And that's another way we keep this podcast ad-free, so you're never having to listen to 7 minutes of ad roll. We get right into it, baby. So thank you guys so much. We will see you on the next episode. Peace.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul. It was passed down to me from the days of old. Find us on the water if there was a way. It's been said my papa, he wrote the book on catching big reds and 20-pound snook. I wish I knew all the things he knew today. For he's the reason why we are this way. And he put fish in her soul.